All right, welcome to Egos Aside. This is the live production meeting for this week with the creative partners of 100 TV. We're planning to launch on May 1st, which is a Monday. Most people here will be launching their shows that day. Others will be launching on Tuesday. June 6th will be our second launch of shows, and then each month we'll add another day until we have 7 days of programming. So welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. If you have any questions or comments about what we're doing, feel free to throw that in the chat. I'd like to welcome our newest, some of our newest creative partners. One is Mr. Rob Greenlee in the upper right-hand corner. He is a Hall of Fame podcaster, been an executive throughout the industry. And Rob, it's great to have you.
It's great to be here, Ross. I'm excited to join the team. So in trying to get this this new channel, network, whatever you want to call it, off the ground. It's exciting.
Awesome. We have also Nicole Sanchez is here. I think we met Nicole in an earlier meeting, and we met May King in an earlier meeting. But they're two of our newer creators. May King's launching her show in June. Nicole and Rob will be starting with us May 1st when all the shows launch for the first time when we go live. Probably about 6 to 7 hours of programming when it all comes together in a linear fashion on that day, and then the videos will be available on demand after that. Let's get to a few videos. We did some introductions, and Coach Jennie's was so good. I'm going to play hers last week. Anybody else who wants to do one, please do send one over. These are just little drops that we'll have for promotional purposes.
Hey there, my name is Coach Jennie, and I'm the host of Monday Morning Moxie with Coach Jennie, Mondays only on 100 TV.
And we have Jodi Krangle sent one in.
Hi, I'm Jodi Krangle, and I'll be the voiceover artist that you hear throughout the day on 100 TV.
And Renee sent hers in.
My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm the host of Renee Speaks Golden Nuggets, Mondays only on 100 TV.
All right, so let's get to business. This is going to be a quick meeting. I want to go over a couple things. So deadlines. Friday, our first episodes are due. 29 or 59 minutes. If you come up slightly short on that, that's okay, but do not go over 29 or 59, depending on whether you're doing a half an hour or an hour show. Again, couple minutes short is okay. Also, YouTube Shorts video of up to 60 seconds that will serve as your show trailer, and we'll start to, probably within a week, start to get those out into the open. So those are both due Friday. First episode and a YouTube Shorts video. If you're not familiar with YouTube Shorts, it's a vertical video, and it doesn't have to be 60 seconds. That's just, the limit is actually, I think, 59 with the way YouTube does its shorts. So losing my voice here. Okay, and then Tuesday, some people may have done this already, but Tuesday is when we need your show opens. Basically, up to 30-second video that will go at the beginning of the show. It can go right at the very beginning, or you can say a couple of lines first and then drop it in. But this is required of everybody. We have an amazing voiceover artist who's a creative partner in Jodi Krangle, and so she'll be doing everybody's show open and read.
Just gonna say it. I love Jodi.
Wait, I heard a beep in here. Oh, it's Rick. Rebecca, let me get you back up here. Okay, so this is so great. Welcome, Rick. We got a full house today. Okay,
hey,
so
Rob.
Just going over the deadlines. Friday, first episode, and YouTube Shorts of up to 60 seconds to serve as a trailer. and that's a vertical video. Tuesday is your 1920 by 1080, just the same way you would do your show. It's a video of up to 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be that long. I think mine's like 8 seconds. And you have a read that you send to Jodi, and she'll record introducing your show, introducing you, and that will go at the beginning of the show. And that's required for every show, so we have that consistency across shows.
I have a question. So
Yes.
just to clarify, we are creating that 1920 by 1280 graphic, and then
it could be
Jodi
graphics.
does the read of our script, or are we creating a 30-second video that you guys play? Is Jodi doing the audio?
Okay,
That's what I'm
so
need to be clear on.
there's a video component and an audio component, but it all comes together in one video.
Right.
So you write a script. It could be 5 seconds. It could be 30 seconds of Jodi introducing you, your show, whatever you want her to say about your show. And then you'll add that as an audio track to a video that might include graphics about your show or you or whatever your open is. So it could be
Okay.
simple, or it could be video clips. It could be a mashup of things. But that's, and you can put a music bed under it as well. But that's up to you and your creativity. But the voice of that should be Jodi, talking about introducing the show.
Do we
you have an
deliver it
example?
without Jodi's voiceover, basically?
No,
Or-
you add like you edited.
I
it.
don't
I
have.
gave Jodi a script for mine,
Yeah.
and she
Yeah.
sent back a wave tape,
Okay.
and I put it on top of my video.
All
and
right.
she is lovely.
So we have the written out script. I just didn't know the sequence of like when she gets it.
I gave her my my script,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So
If we have to do it by Tuesday, we should give it to her now so she can
Correct.
record it in time so we can. Yeah, got it.
correct.
Thank you.
So you can
She's
turn
passing
in
it
you can
around.
turn in your show Friday without it, and then you're either going to add it to the very front, or you're going to drop it in after a couple line phrase that you might say at the top, right?
Right. Okay.
So, but we can add those in after so that Jodi doesn't get like 100 to do today or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
I missed the first part of this, so I'm kind of catching up a little bit. Do you have an example of this clip, or an example of some sort that we could?
You can
Okay.
use mine if you want, Ross. I'm so excited. I did a video. I did a video.
Okay, well, I don't have that. I don't have that loaded up, but
Ross, do you have yours?
let me see.
I can share if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead and share yours if you have it. We can play yours.
I can find it real quick. Sure.
Sure.
So Ross, that rectangular 16 by 9 tile that you have created for all of us, is that something that we need to use on a standard basis in the intros of our shows so we're consistent, or
You don't
what's
have
your
to
thought?
use that in the intro of your show. That will be the thumbnail for you. So I did two thumbnails for everybody.
Right.
The first thumbnail is just
I'm ready when you are.
okay. Just a sec, Sue-Ann. Okay, so the first thumbnail is just your show title.
Yeah, exactly like that.
And that's for the first week. No matter what your episode's called, just use your show title as your thumbnail for the first week. And that's really only for the uploaded on-demand version, because the other version will be fit in between, an entire day of content. So there'll be one thumbnail for that. Then your second week, we add a splash of color, different color for everybody, and we add the 100 TV logo. And then you put either your episode title or a few words about your episode title, on the thumbnail. And basically, everybody has the first thumbnail. I created a folder in the Google Drive, the 100 TV Google Drive. There's a folder called Shows, and everybody at least everybody who's launching a show in May and maybe even the June people should have their first thumbnail already in that folder. And that's where you'll upload your video when it's done. I know Rick has already uploaded his video. And so that's how you do your uploads. And then I'm going to create a template in Canva for the second thumbnail and going forward. So you can just go in and all you got to do is change the words. The second line always has the color and the logo will be on it already. So yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
So should we be thinking about creating a unique like show logo art that can be overlaid over this as well at some point? So or is the branding going to be more consistent?
We're going to go with just the 100
text?
TV logo as the branding, and then you can add your own lower thirds if you want, or you can add other things throughout the other graphics throughout. But we won't be doing sort of show logos as far as that goes.
Okay, so how we represent the show will just be in like block text. That's it.
I think so.
Can we use a logo in our intro? Because
what's that?
Can we use a logo like in the intro, like in the
100 TV?
Up to 30-second, like
the
in
100
up to 30
TV logo, or
no? I mean, like, can we have our own, like, the part where we're able to use the lovely voiceover artist, like for that, kind of intro bumper. Can we put our own show logo name in that part of it where it talks about the show? I mean, not on the thumbnail, but because that's kind of what I was planning to do. So it would have like my show name and then probably, visually kind of about the show, or maybe outtakes would be saying things. I'm not quite sure.
Any thoughts on that from anyone else?
I also have a logo, so I'm hoping this goes that way.
I'm using just the League Spartan font that, like, for the main thumbnails, I'm using that to put our names under our photo and then like the name of the show. I mean, that can evolve, but like I don't know what else you could, I mean, without having some consistency, or like I think there's two things. Like what I'm thinking is the 100 TV logo, if you put it on at all times, you have to have that, not your own, right? So it doesn't look like you're not like a different show. But I think for your show intro, it's okay.
I thought the thumbnails needed a 100 TV logo, although my opening does have it. If you,
I think that's more
I did it weird.
But isn't 100 TV like the network, the umbrella, and our shows are under that, right? I mean, you wouldn't have it be NBC for like, whatever. CSI, right? CSI has their own logo under NBC. So, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought of it as 100 TV is our umbrella brand, and then our shows sit under that.
Right. Or
so that people so when mine opens, that they're going to know mine is about, digital marketing, YouTube and social media, versus someone else might be a, cooking show or finance show or, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't do a logo for mine. And I didn't, I didn't mention 100. I didn't mention Livestream Universe so, I mean, that's just one way to do it. Coach Jennie, did you have a thought?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could show one of the examples of the videos, because we're all talking about
it. Okay, let me bring up Sue Ann.
And maybe that would make our lives easier.
Perfect.
All you gotta
Thank
do
you.
is click it, I think.
Step inside the marketing mirror to uncover marketing secrets, discover gems, tactics, lessons, and campaigns you can use. Next Gen or fundamentals. Grab the marketing magic to improve your marketing and win more business. Only on 100 TV. Only on 100 TV.
Okay, yeah. So that's kind of what I meant. Because she has the marketing mirror, right? Which is her show.
The name of the
looks like a
show,
logo or brand. I mean, that's very specific. Yeah. So it didn't look like 100 TV.
I guess I didn't think of that as a logo. I just thought of
that
as
isn't
like
my logo.
the show
it's
title.
a show logo. It's a show logo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is pretty much how we would be doing all of the promos for all of the shows. Then pretty much, right?
We're talking about the show open specifically.
Oh, the show open. Because I don't know if you've looked at my show yet, but I do have my own show open that's baked into the show. I have an open. I actually also have show credits too at the end of the show.
Right, right.
So
And your open doesn't have any voice in it.
no, I mean there's audio and
There's
yeah,
music,
it's
but
just
no,
music. It's just
there's
music.
music.
Yeah.
Can you have Jodi do I mean, it could be as brief as, and now the Drink with Rick rewind, or, here's your host, Rick.
Well, yeah, actually, the show wasn't really designed for that. It was pretty much supposed to be kind of a visual thing because it's supposed to represent, rewinding a film or a video to show the actual video clips. Really wasn't designed with that in mind. It, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, it was sort of, here's a pilot, as a proposed template, and we didn't really have a lot of this sort of fleshed out at that point, and that's pretty much how I baked the open into the show, and that's pretty much how all of the episodes are set up. In fact, I've got several more episodes almost already done.
Okay. And so you can't, or you don't want to, or what's the...
It's not something that I don't know. Did you watch the episode? It's
30 seconds or less, right? She just has to do the voiceover and
Well,
opening, right?
right. Well, you're talking. Well, the promo. I mean, for a promo for the show, that's fine. For the actual open of the show, it's more or less a self-contained. Everything's kind of baked into the show. As a self-contained show.
And a lead in, right?
Yeah. So it's an actual open, like as what you mentioned before, like what you would find on a show like CSI or NCIS or something like that. And there are show credits also, and there's actually a space for a mid-show break if someone wanted to put a mid-show break in there. It's not mandatory by any means, but I baked one in there in case the network wanted to have a stopping point and put a break in there to do any other promos for other shows or
run an ad,
commercials, run an ad, that sort of thing. This is actually designed just as you would see a TV show on a major network.
I think
that's
in
how
order
it's
to
built.
I think it would be easier is based on what everyone understands.
Mm-hmm.
On the requirements is submit all your videos by Friday, and then we kind of can come up with and I'm just taking the lead on this, like a process of like what your show format should look like, whether it's format A or B or whatever. But it's hard to really conceptualize that because we all have that idea in our head of what we would like, and the content is the most important, right? So I think that's
I mean, I think we kind of left a lot of freedom and creativity up to the host, but we have a voiceover artist who can give us a unique audio branding sound going into every show. So that's how we had planned this.
Well, there's no reason that you can't.
My video.
Yeah, there's no reason
Joe?
that you can't run a 30-second promo for the open as a lead-in for every show before the actual official show open. That's it starts. So
okay, so maybe
I'm good. I'm good with writing something up for her to do and having a 30-second lead-in, and then after the 30-second lead-in, then the actual show open starts.
That works perfectly. I mean, I think lead in open, I think we might be dealing with semantics here. As long as you do that, that's fine, and then you have your own music, open, whatever you want to call it, that you can use to transition between. I think you do a cold open in the very beginning, and then you go into your music bed that's got graphics. So I could call that an open. So I don't want to say you got two opens, but that's. Does that make sense? Are we on the same page?
Yeah.
Okay. It does make sense because I kind of, my formula has always been I have something that's around 20 seconds long, that plays at the outset. Then I do my introduction and then my show open.
Yeah, that's
After
fine.
that,
That's fine.
I'm kind of envisioning that I have the 100 TV will replace my usual 10 to 20 second in the beginning, and then my show, and then my intro.
Okay. No, that makes sense.
So Ross,
okay. Go ahead,
Ross,
Rob.
I had a question too. Are you thinking at all about any kind of network segments in between the different shows that maybe tease what's coming up, kind of concepts? Is that?
Yeah, we're going to do, so all the shows, like a 30-minute show, so to speak, will be 29 minutes or
Yes,
less.
you have a 30 seconds or so.
You
of a
could
promo.
add your up to
Right.
30 second on the front of it if you don't bake it in couple beats later, so to speak. So
Right.
if you want to add it on the front end, you have up to 30 seconds there. And then on the back end, we can play a 30-second house ad promo. We can play somebody's, a reel, put it on a background and the name of the host and when the show is, and play their, YouTube Shorts video in between. There's a lot of things we can do in between to promote the network, what's coming up, and and that sort of thing.
That would be perfect. That'd be perfect if we could do that.
Thank you.
I have a question about the thumbnail, though. Getting back to the thumbnail for a minute. So we're going to pretty much, at least with the first few shows, the first thumbnail is just the name of the show. The second thumbnail, you have the name, pretty much the name or description of the first of the second episode, I should say. The thing is that we're going to be changing our titles, descriptions of the thumbnails going forward after that. Is there, how would we do that, overlay the text without, because we need like a blank space for the text. We wouldn't be overlaying over the text from the second episode, right? Wouldn't we need like a template that doesn't have the text on it so we can type the text in using that
like a master?
font? Yeah,
Well,
a master.
I'm going to, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to send a template with everybody's thumbnail in it. And so all you have to do is change your text. I believe the text size is 90, but I'd have to check. But if your words would go, like, you want to keep it to 3 lines or less. So if your words would go to where it would start to cover your picture, you just reduce the font size on that. And if you have a 2-line episode title or episode, just 2 keywords that you want to use, then just make the color, the line with the color, the second line instead of the middle line.
Okay.
So, does anybody know, I can make a template, right, and everybody who has a Canva account can come in and use it. So is everybody good with that?
Yeah, that would be a huge help.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I use my own graphics tools. So I don't really use Canva per se. So just send me the template without the title.
Oh, okay.
Font.
That's fine.
I can
do that.
Make them with every episode.
And what color? Can you send me the hex color that you chose? Because
I think I did, or I think I posted it already in there.
Oh, okay.
You asked
I'll
about
check.
it. You asked about it a few days ago, and I went ahead and put it in there.
Okay,
it's
great.
in one comment, so I can send it over again if you need it.
Okay. If anybody, boy, I'm opening a door with this, but if anybody has a color that they really want, and it's easy to just change the color in between, let me know. But otherwise, I just kind of at random rolled the dice and grabbed different colors for each splash of color for people's shows. So Rick had a definite idea what he wanted, and some other people might. So just let me know on that. Any other questions before we wrap up? There was a question in the group about when we will start promoting our shows and sharing trailers, and we're going to organize that this week. So probably by next week's meeting, we'll have a game plan and some ways that we're going to roll that out, whether we roll it out first on the 100 TV channel as a short, and then we do it on other properties, or how that goes, some text and so forth that'll go with it, links and such. But that'll all be ready by next week.
Ross, when can we start promoting 100 TV in general? Like, for instance, so like on my blog, that sort of thing, for the Drink with Rick blog. When can I start mentioning this and promoting the 100 TV network itself?
You're free to do it now, I think.
Okay.
I mean, just, link back to the channel, tell people to subscribe, and that we've got a lot of programming coming up. But as far as sharing the videos and that stuff, we'll get a game plan to roll that all out by next week.
Okay.
Hey, Ross, I just want to say thank you for making some of these decisions, because there's no right and there's no wrong decision to be made. We're all just kind of doing our best. And I like that we're just getting started. It'll all kind of change and shape shift. And I know we're all like wanting to do such a great job that like perfectionism is starting to show up a little bit, but we just gotta, I really appreciate you just saying, here's what we're going to do. These are the first 3 episodes of something we hope that lasts for many years. So I'm sure it's going to iterate. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to throw that into the room.
Yeah. So we're starting simple with some things, and then we will build out more as time goes along. But the heart of this is our shows. So that's why, as I said last week, let's put the committees on the back burner for the most part. Focus on your shows. That's really the heart of the whole thing. And we're getting closer, so we should be.
I do have one question about the shows themselves. I don't think we ever really talked about like how many shows are we doing, like seasons, or is this just a thing that's ongoing through the year, or like how many shows can we expect to produce individually through a year? Because I know that I don't know about everyone else, but I know that I have several things going on in the fire, so I want to be able to put out, be able to produce the number of shows that are needed, but I need some sort of expectation as to how many would be done during that course of the year, so I can sort of plan out
weekly, 52 weeks,
time.
right?
Well, there are going to be
seasons or something like that, and rerun, because you mentioned rerunning some episodes and things like that.
Yeah, I'm working this language together for the contract, but basically, after every 8 new shows, okay, it's like earning vacation with a company. After every 8 shows, you earn the right to say, I want to do a replay this week, as long as you give like a week and a half notice ahead so we can plan for that. And then you can save those, so you can put 2 weeks together and take 2 weeks away from this. I forget if the limit was 2 or 3 weeks that you could use together, but you can save them, and you can drop them in every so often. I mean, so I think within a year you can figure out, so basically every 2 months you get a week off, and you can save that up and use two at a time if you want to take 2 weeks here and 2 weeks there and what have you. As far as whether you have seasons or not, that's really up to how you want to present your show. From the network level, we just want to know that there's going to be either a new show or a replay that we're running that week in your time slot. But if you want to have a theme and go, okay, the first 12 weeks are this, first 12 weeks I'm doing X, and the second 12 weeks I'm doing Y, and the third 12, you're welcome to do that, or taking a week off in between and saying, we'll be back in 2 weeks with season 2. Check out the replay of one of our favorite episodes next week. However we want to do that kind of thing. Does that answer?
Kind of, sort of, I guess. For now.
What were you thinking?
Oh, I was just wondering, planning far enough ahead to know, okay, am I producing this many shows in a year or this many shows in what would be, because a season constitutes generally like a year, like 8 or 9 months in a year or 10 months in a year, whatever it is going to be, 6 months in a year, whatever whatever the time period is. But to be able to plan ahead to say, okay, well, I know I'm going to do this many shows for a year or for a season, to kind of have that planned out, or if there was going to be some sort of a standard that the network overall would say, hey, we require so many shows a year or anything like that. I just wanted to be able to have our expectations set. That's all.
Okay. Well, we can do the math on the 2 weeks, 1 day, 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 months, 1 week. But we'll finalize that in the next week. So I'll have a better answer.
The idea, though, is that we each have a time slot that we have, like 30 minutes or 60 minutes. Correct. And we're responsible for making sure within whatever parameters you set that time slot, 52 weeks a year, is filled with our content. But it could be replayed content on the 9th week or something like that. Correct. Am I understanding that correct? So it's really about like whatever that time slot is. Once we have the schedule, we're committed to, for the long haul, foreseeable future, filling that time slot with our content.
Right. So you would probably just tell me or whomever was handling it, okay, this is my 9th week or my 10th week. I'm not going to be doing a new show this week. Let's rerun episode 3 or.
Oh, but could we also, like, with that same thing in mind, is like we have this show format we've all worked on, but you know what? We're going to do a special episode, right? Where I'm going to just riff on something else. Like, as long as I'm filling that time with valuable content, you could get creative within that, right?
Yeah. I mean, as long as it makes sense to your audience. I mean, I don't know. I think the most important thing is filling that time slot. Yeah.
We interrupt this regularly scheduled program for this special 1 hour special on bird watching in the Himalayas.
I mean, why not? Wine and bird watching. I
was going to say, as long as you have your glass of wine, why not? Exactly.
Well, one thing that I wanted to throw in here too on this same topic is that maybe the network needs to establish a 52-week schedule, right, of when we're, as a network, when we're putting out new content. I mean, the expectation of, well, I guess it's not like we're doing live shows, right? So, if we wanted to take time off for like Christmas or something like that, right?
Rob, you're not doing a live show?
No.
So you're thinking like...
I'm okay with actually doing that, but I'm
just kidding.
I'm just trying to throw it out. I think that the bigger question that you had, Rick, was more, well, what's the schedule look like for the network going forward? What's the expectation of how many episodes as a network are we going to put out a year, right? And are there any kind of seasonal breaks that the network's going to take where we just, as a network, we play reruns?
Right. So I guess that raises the issue of which is sort of better for a YouTube channel and better for sustaining an audience. Is it better to have 6 out of 8 shows new each week, or is it better to take certain weeks and, Thanksgiving week, Christmas week, New Year's week, July 4th week, Memorial Day week, Labor Day week, we go, okay, those will be weeks, or, the month of September, we won't do any new episodes. I'm not sure which is better for what we're trying to do. Right. I guess
it's what we want to do. I think.
Yeah, I guess real quick, if anybody has thoughts on which approach they prefer.
I like all the flexibility that you talked about before, but that's just off the top of my head. The one question that I have when you brought up like what's best for YouTube is, can we post replays on YouTube? Like, is that bad to post the same video again? Like, will that hurt our channel? So that's one of the questions I have.
I think the answer is it won't hurt our channel because it will be wrapped into a different package. So if we were streaming or re-premiering an entire package that had already been, that could be an issue. But it's the same reason why you can live stream for 6 hours and then cut a clip out of it or an hour out of it and upload it as a separate video. You can do that for, I believe, that's kind of the game plan.
I don't think YouTube would really care, would they? I wouldn't think so.
I think it would probably benefit us, but I mean, there are people who keep restreaming the same things all the time just to keep their channel active, and it may be they change the description or they change something, or maybe YouTube doesn't care. We need to look into. We had a YouTube committee, but
I just want to make sure we don't break a YouTube rule and get in trouble and lose the channel. You know what I mean? Like beyond that, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like let's just not break any of the glass.
No, I think it's fine. I mean, my thought was that we would do 6-7 hours of programming, and then during the week, while we only have Monday shows during the week, Tuesday we upload a couple of half-an-hour shows. Wednesday we upload an hour show and a half-an-hour show, and Thursday a few more uploads, so that we have constant content feeding the algorithm, and people have another chance to discover that show if they missed it in the linear delivery on Monday. And then every show will have its own playlist. So if somebody's a really big Coach Jennie fan, they can go right to your playlist and they can binge on everything, or they can just catch it on demand as well. All of which is good for the channel and the network.
I have a couple of quick technical questions. The first one is all the shows. I take it all the shows that we're uploading here, they're all going to be pretty much put together into one file that gets uploaded to YouTube. That's the idea here. Okay, as far as our uploading the shows here to be strung together or to be put together, how much storage space are we going to have to upload shows? Like I'd have like 6 episodes done by the time May 1st rolls around, but I'm not sure if I can send them all up there to you, because I think Google Drive only gives us so much storage space for all these. And if we have more than a dozen or so folks here that are all uploading half-hour shows, that's going to add up pretty quick.
Well, we can look at expanding Google Drive. So we could pay for more storage there, or we could find an inexpensive CDN and host our videos there. Not really using it so much as a CDN, as just a place to store everything. Mm-hmm. The other thing is our videos will be stored on YouTube once we upload. So that's not a bad place to have them either. And then, each creator, if they would like to, can hang on to their own video or that way. So I don't know that we need to keep everything in the Google Drive in perpetuity. So
we would put up a few episodes, then take those down to make room for a few more episodes. What you're saying?
Correct.
I mean, I keep all of my stuff offline, backed up offline anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I was just curious.
Correct. So there's a couple different ways to do this. One is you could be saying that this week you want to replay and you just re-upload the episode. The other way is I just download the video from the YouTube channel and re-upload it. I don't know if that is as good not re-upload it, but add it to the stream, the linear. I don't know if that's quite as good a quality, but those are a couple of the options we have.
Well, that gets to one more third question here. Is we're uploading all these as MP4s, right? Mm-hmm. Is there another form, because you're going to be taking that MP4 and building into another, to a network night and that's going to be all MP4 streaming. At some point, all that starts to degrade. So is there another format that we should upload to kind of maintain that quality once it goes out over the network, or does it matter, or we just keep using MP4s?
So you're saying that an MP4, if you take MP4s and you put them in an editor and you render that into one file, that would degrade in quality during the rendering?
It can depend sometimes on how that MP4 is being rendered or re-rendered. Because what you're doing is you're rendering it and then you're re-rendering it and re-rendering it, and over time, if it's an MP4, that the quality may start to degrade somewhat because you're re-rendering. I mean, if you're just it's a digital format by itself, as an MP4, it wouldn't degrade, but because you're re-rendering it and re-rendering it and re-rendering it over time, that could do that. Yes.
Russ, can we back up a little bit on this topic and talk about how we're actually doing the live linear streaming? Is it because it's confusing to me right now exactly how we're doing it? Are we doing it through StreamYard, or are we doing it through YouTube, or is it just playing back-to-back episodes in a playlist off of YouTube, or is it one big, huge video file like Rick was talking about?
Okay, so there's two ways that we're considering this, and this one is to upload and then set it as a premiere. So we upload the full program, set it as a premiere. It plays like it's live, but it's not live, but there's a live chat, so hosts can come in if they want to and chat with their audience. And
I like that idea.
The other way would be to use a tool like StreamYard and stream it as though it were live. I don't know if there's any advantages to one way or the other way, but both would create the linear live kind of experience in which you would have the chat and, at the end of it, you would have one big package of Monday content that people could watch, that we could do an encore presentation, what have you, of, and then, those would be uploaded. Each show would be uploaded at a different time during the week.
If we did one large media file that's uploaded to YouTube with all of our shows kind of, piled together, that would create a situation where we have kind of duplicate content in the YouTube experience, right? So we have one file that's got 7 hours of video in it, and then each one of us has our own separate kind of like playlist for each of our shows. I'm assuming that's kind of what the experience
so we have both the linear and the on-demand experience.
Right.
Do you see that as a concern?
No, I mean, I think if you're even playing it through StreamYard as a live kind of stream of each of those episodes, it's going to create a duplicate copy in YouTube anyway. I mean, so you're going to have it one way or the other. So one would be you could go in and delete that copy. One where you keep it, I guess that's the bigger question: is do you, once it's played, do you keep that large file in the system, because it would create a kind of like a bifurcation of
that's a great question. And I think in the beginning, like, we would, at least for a week, we would keep Monday's stuff up. I guess you would want to keep it to not lose the views and the watch time and such if you want to monetize.
Yeah. So
even though it may not be everybody's first choice to go watch Monday's programming from 6 months ago, we still may want to not lose that watch time and those views so that we can monetize on YouTube faster. One thing, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but is there any sort of tool out there that's sort of like a jukebox kind of tool, where instead of loading up, 6-8 hours of programming, we could literally like slide each episode, even slide the commercials and the not commercials, but the promos that go in between shows. We could slide somebody's open if they change it out. Like, do you know,
an electronic master control switcher?
Yeah,
it's what's being used by all the streaming video networks, right? It's the same thing that's been used in radio for many years. You basically have a stack, programming playlist, right, that just goes through and does each one of them separately. And I think that there's probably a solution out there. I don't know if StreamYard has that ability built into it to be able to create that kind of an experience or not, but that may be
I looked into
help.
some tools that kind of let you create your own linear, but
Yeah.
those that were on the
Probably
lower
really
end,
expensive.
I don't think those on the lower end, I don't think the experience was so consistent. And a lot of times they pull from YouTube and other places. So you have to upload to a different CDN. And it's a little complicated and I don't know how reliable. But something that was flexible like that, if it was somewhat affordable, would eventually be a great solution.
Yeah, I mean, it is a playlist type of a solution, but it's a playlist that goes into a live stream experience.
So you're saying like even in a StreamYard or a Restream or something, we could slot. I mean, the other thing about doing that is then we wouldn't be doing the uploads during the week so much as each show would be its own thing then, right? Like each show would
Slot
have
in
its
the
own
playlist.
page. It wouldn't really end up being a linear experience because each one would come into a new page, right?
That would probably eliminate the need to just re-render a whole block of shows for an evening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be great if YouTube had the ability of being able to, I don't know if it does because I never played with this functionality, but be able to take the on-demand listings for each of our shows and then just put them together in a playlist that renders a live stream experience.
Mm-hmm.
It plays them one after another, kind of like what a streaming radio station does, right?
So like you could upload the day's programming of premieres or whatever, 1:30, put them all in a playlist, and it would literally send people from one to the next to the next.
Exactly, and then
day.
slides in a little promo in between each one.
Yeah, I just don't think it's that smooth.
Yeah, I would think that they haven't built that yet.
Yeah,
right. And to do it with something like StreamYard or something, you have to sit right here for 7 hours. And I heard you have a life. I think you have a life, Ross. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's build one.
Let's
build one.
Oh yeah, let's build a solution. Huh?
No, I've learned already that once you make a suggestion, it's like, okay, you're in charge.
Right.
No.
It's up to you now to get it done.
Okay. Well, we got a lot of good ideas out here and important questions, and I think these are things we can revisit. Look, all content that goes to platforms that stream to these platforms is going to degrade if you're using the free platforms, and it may degrade to some extent even on paid platforms. So, I mean, there's a certain level of quality you're not going to get beyond anyway, I think, on YouTube.
So let's back up and think about it too. What's the experience of the viewer on this at the front end? I think ideally, that premiere concept doesn't simulate a live stream, right? This is something new, essentially, is what it's offering. But if you were to create a consolidated video file and play it through StreamYard, I suppose it would give it that live kind of look and experience, right? Even though it's all kind of on
I don't
replay,
think it would actually look any different. I mean,
it wouldn't look any different. You don't think? I mean, it wouldn't have like a live, like a red little button there, unless we layer.
I
that
mean,
on
maybe
top
it
of the
has
video.
live and premiere. I think when it's a premiere, it's got something. Like I half the time when I'm watching a show that's got a live chat, I don't even remember to check whether it's live or it's a premiere. I just dive in and.
It's more of a label that shows up
right.
in the experience, right?
But I mean, I think, I'm not sure what the advantage of one over the other is.
If I may interject something real quick, one of the things that I do when I'm working from home, like today, is on YouTube, I'm running in the background some smooth jazz music, because it helps me concentrate on my writing. The thing is that a lot of those are actually pretty much just live streams that kind of replay with a live chat going on in the background. I don't think that this would be too different from that sort of thing, except it's doing video and music, would it?
So they're streaming it, not premiering it.
There's stream. Well, I have seen some that are premieres also. There are some that if you type in like, excuse me, smooth jazz or jazz, something like that to listen to, like lo-fi jazz or something, or lo-fi music. It doesn't have to be jazz. You'll see those. I have seen some that are premieres, and then I've seen others that are just not. They're just running 24/7, and I'm not really sure how they're doing that, to be honest, because I've never really done this before myself. So I really couldn't say, but it's definitely worth looking at to see how they're doing it.
I mean, I think we could, if we wanted to A/B test this, we could literally stream one week and premiere the next, and the difference to the audience would be imperceptible. But we could measure the results. I'm not saying that that's the best way to go, but this is something we could do 3 weeks of live and then throw a week of premiere in and see if there's any difference in the experience, in the response, in the reaction, and then go. Like I just think as an audience person, you're start your day at 11 a.m. Eastern with Monday Morning Moxie and Coach Jennie. Whether it's live or it's a premiere, not sure how much difference that makes to the audience.
The one thing
as
that jumps
Jennie
out at
pointed
me is
out,
the
you need a
example.
production person. Sorry.
Hang on, go
That's
ahead.
okay. We
Coach
started
Jennie.
talking at the same time. Go ahead, Sue-Ann.
I was just saying what you pointed out. StreamYard requires that production person kind of manning the thing. And, that could be an issue.
Well, and my point was the example that was thrown out is all jazz. And we're not all jazz. We're all over the place. So the audience members that we're bringing in, we have such a wonderful variety of shows that are happening. They're not just listening to jazz, right? So if they come in to listen to me and the next person's talking about wine and the next person's talking about video production, and I don't know that the audiences, we're gonna have multiple audiences. So that's the only thing that worries me about trying to turn it into one thing, because we don't have a specific target audience.
That worries me about the algorithm and YouTube picking up the network as a whole all the way around.
So are you saying that you think it would be better not to do any sort of linear and just upload, have a schedule, 3 videos upload on Monday, 3 upload on Tuesday, 3 upload on Wednesday?
And again, not being a YouTube genius at all, my gut says that we might be more successful at having all those playlists you've been talking about of like, here's all the productivity stuff, here's all of the marketing stuff, and you know what I mean? Like, then the playlist can build an audience versus this. That's my only concern, is that I just don't know, aside of us, because we love ourselves, who's going to listen to 7 hours of a variety of different kinds of programming. You know what I mean? It's like constantly flipping channels.
Well, it is a good question. I mean, it's more of a lean back experience versus a lean forward experience, which is typically what you see on.
Well, I think live streaming has a little bit of the live radio kind of thing, where you're getting people coming in and out of their cars. So you put on 100 TV and you enjoy listening to shows by independent creators. And so you're listening, and then you go into a meeting, and then you have a phone call, and you come back in, you check what's going on. Oh, it's, Rick's talking about this wine that I love. Okay, great. I'm not going to go and do that other thing for a few minutes. I'm going to listen to that, and then the next show. And so...
And then I get in trouble because they were late.
Right. I mean, I think we're definitely pushing the envelope in terms of what works on YouTube, but we're trying to come up with a totally new business model. And
and then for how does YouTube understand us? Because YouTube understands a single channel with a single subject matter as a general rule. That's how an algorithm works, right? It's based on the content you put out there, which is generally hashtagged or topical in some subject. Like it's not used to being like 50 different directions, in my opinion. How do we show up as an entity?
That's a really good point. And most YouTube creators aren't dropping 47 videos a week. right? Like, or
Right.
whatever number we're going to get to pretty quickly. So I
That's
don't know
gonna be
how that's
something.
going to also affect the algorithm versus 1 or 2 or 3 a week, you know? So it's all a big
And how do
experiment,
they know
and I
where to
love
throw
that.
us? Where do they
Um,
throw
Well,
us in
let
the
me just
algo?
one thing, and so the live and the on demand really are probably going to work into this algorithm very differently. But every video YouTube wants to find an audience for. So if you put up 7 videos about cooking and then you do a video about marketing, and YouTube goes, look at these keywords in this description, or look at this title and description, I know exactly where I can put that video to get somebody to watch it after they watch another video on marketing. YouTube's not going to go, well, yeah, but it doesn't really fit with the rest of their channel. They're going to go, that's going to keep people on the platform. Now, that's a very simplified view of how the algorithm works, but I think it works more by video than by channel. Where can I take this video and put it to get viewers? So, the other thing is we're doing, the network is a different approach, right? So it's a very, like Coach Jennie said, it's a very different approach. Whereas most YouTubers, if they can upload one new video a week plus a short or 2, they're doing well based on what the average person's doing. So if you're not doing more than a video a week and you jump around topics, it's hard to hold an audience that's going to keep your notifications on and come in, which triggers the algorithm in that way. So I think some of this is audience-based. There's a lot of factors that are probably beyond our ability to know. And I think, at least in the beginning, and we can shift in a month or 2 months or even 2 weeks if it doesn't work out well for us. But I think in terms of getting attention for what we're doing and making a big splash, nothing beats going, we've got 7 hours of shows by independent creators today.
Yeah,
In the
my whole
beginning.
thing is, as long as we don't break a rule so YouTube punishes us,
That's
who cares,
very
right?
important.
Because
right?
we're doing everything else in such a different way. There's so many of our networks that we're going to be bringing to the network to watch our own shows. And then, the monetization committee is focused on sponsorships over YouTube monetization. So we don't have to split 13 cents in a couple of years. Like, who cares about that as much? Like, we want to make sure we're making real money. So we're focused on those kinds of things. So I think it's important that we're mindful that we're using YouTube so we don't screw it up, but we don't rely on the old school kind of approaches that all the YouTube gurus say to do, because we're doing something so radically different.
Look, the other thing, just being totally transparent about, I'm pretty convinced that in the long haul, this is going to work. But, we may have to deal in the short haul where, somebody checks in and there's like 1 live viewer or 2 live viewers in the beginning. And do we have the patience? Well, that, can't shatter our egos and such, because in the beginning, we might have 100, we might have 1,000 viewers, a couple weeks in, but it might take some time to build momentum and interest in the concept and get all of our audiences over here. So we have to realize that what we see the first week may not be, the end of the story, right? We've all published videos on YouTube, I'm sure, that in the beginning got like no views, and then a year later, or 6 months later, or 3 weeks later, all of a sudden they take off. And, some of my best performing videos didn't do very well the first few weeks, and then they hit something and they took off. So
In my personal and professional experience with this, it takes a long time to establish a brand and build an audience. This is not something that happens overnight. Ever, and at very, very rare cases, and usually in those rare cases, it involves someone throwing in a lot of money to do an initial promotional launch, and even then, there are no guarantees. So this is something that it does require some patience and the long. Yeah, you got to be in for the long haul.
The good thing about doing this on social versus, say, if we were starting a new channel on television or something, is that we already do have built-in audiences on these different platforms that we can drive here. So we're not starting from scratch. And so, you know, people had talked about maybe we should go to Roku, and that's fine. We could do that at some point. In fact, I would love to go to, you know, OTT, you know, and all that stuff. But for right now, YouTube is where there's a lot of people can discover us who don't know us, but it's also where we have a lot of our communities hanging out and already spending time. And so it's another subscription to something that, you know, they know about us and they want to support and want to watch.
Well, and YouTube's the home for indie creators, right? We don't have any gatekeepers. So while we're definitely, you know, trying to figure out the rules, whatever they are, that's my only concern. We're really we're just building this plane while we're flying it, you know?
Yeah. So I had thought this was going to be about 15 minutes, and this has been a great... What's that, Sue Ann?
I'm sorry. Traditional media, the viewership on traditional media has changed significantly enough that, like, YouTube just bought the rights of something with football or so, you know, I mean, like that there's a whole change in not only media and viewership and advertising and market, like everything is in such a flux and shift. And I think more so right now. I mean, it's been in a flux since we got more digital anyway. And then there was the big burst with the pandemic of people jumping deeper. But I think right now, with all the stuff with AI and everything else, everything is so crazy town that, like, it's sort of like the Wild West, anything goes, you know?
And of course, people who become successful in networks and such that become successful often are the ones that don't follow the same script, right? Because eventually there's just a regression to the mean if everybody's doing the same thing. So somebody's got to go against the advice and against the rules, not the YouTube rules, but
so that's why you invited me. I'm onto you because I'm the rule breaker.
All right. So thank you, everybody. This was a lot longer, but we had really some great questions and great things to consider going forward, and we'll see you all back here next week, 12:15 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday for another episode of Egos Aside as we get closer to our launch. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.